What is
Scotch
you want to get rid of it?
Scotch broom is a pasture and a forest disaster.
Oh.
It's very hard to eradicate. It's essentially, you can bulldoze it, you can burn it. It doesn't really matter. They're both state noxious plants, along with the doggone English ivy.
Every single branch came out. There's a star on the bark, and it looks really beautiful.
Oh wow!
And it's pointed just like a star.
Because of the roots.
Because of the roots. Root, when the branch comes up, if you cut a blackberry in half, it looks like a star. Actually, is after people have taken it out, dismantled it, I'll dig up the roots, and then I dry them with the bark on it for about 5 months, and then I'll boil it in water, and then I have to peel the bark back off.
Oh, well, it's not always about eradication until you have to manage it first. Hopefully, there's some management, and then eventually, hopefully, it's eradicated.
The longer the plant's been there, the more time it has to make bigger roots.
There's runners. After you tear the fabric up, 4 or 5 years later, the blackberry's gone.
I could drill through in several different areas of it, and then be able to run a wire through it and cork every area with a piece of the
Real.
Yeah, and you can build beautiful lamps.
Okay. Yeah.
So in 21, under the federal government, our federal government cannot legally own land.
Work with the United Nations building, and they want to keep out U.S. people.
Now, that's why Agenda 21 is addressed to take all the public land in 11 western states and make it a western wilderness park.
1835, there was one person living in San Francisco. There was wood all over the San Francisco Bay.
What's the difference between corridor and clear cut?
Okay, well, you need to look at that.
Okay.
So when you do a clear cut, then now when they replant, the sun can get to them and the trees will grow healthy.
The soil has been tested and there's high mercury content in the soil. The water that we drink here, it's the runoff.
An open door is calling you to a field of green.
And is it going to attempt to identify the tall grass habitat, the short grass habitat?
From the forest too, that weren't qualified.
Granddaughter helps school because they have a foundation.
Yeah, they do. For Willie Enterprises, who were kind enough to talk to me on the phone, and that's like the spirit of Drain and the spirit of the area. So, how will you know?
Some of the trees that grew that existed long before even the house existed. A lot of times you'll have municipalities that'll come in growing into either an adjacent housing area, or it's breaking plumbing, or it's just breaking up the sidewalk.
The amount of waste that's put out when you create electricity, and that's what was losing power teleporting. So, in that sense, it's causing more of a problem. Unless it's the
story of
But
2,000 years. Then they're usually somewhat hollow because they're so old. You know, they just keep on growing, producing more cambium around the gone center, and they tend to get hollow.
Yeah.
And the cutters hate them.
Hollow trees?
Oh, I used to camp out in them sometimes.
In the ones that are giant?
In cedars.
The economy is just so bad that there's not enough people that can afford to do any farming or ranching. The few that do are having a hard time of it. And the big companies
ranching, okay.
Anyway, on the weekends, that's what we do. We went out and worked with the fields. And during hay season, we went out and baled the hay and put it in the barn, and that was our job. We didn't sit around watching TV and stuff. We used to have a hay field right down by the lake. Back in the 40s. Fish and Game have been having meetings here since the late 40s. They tried everything, they discussed things. They've been 50-some years now. What have they done? They're right back to where they were. They don't know what to do.
With teams of horses and a Fresno.
Anywhere from 60 milk cows to 120 head of beef on the same property.
How long has your family been here?
My family has been here since the 1800s, mid-1800s.
Earl had more natural duck feed than any lake in the state of California. I don't think they have it now.
This place has not ever been flooded.
You know Helen Ferguson.
Yeah. And we had just finished paying off our dairy on Lakeview Drive, approximately 180 acres. One day, out of the clear blue, Fish and Game walked into our living room and asked us if we wanted to sell our dairy, and we said no. And they said, oh, no problem, we only buy from willing sellers. Well, within just a few months, all of a sudden, we had 4 feet of water on 90% of our dairy. And then they came back and said, well, now do you want to sell? And
this year, you'd have been sitting in about a foot of water.
Oh.
Because it go clear up to these railroad ties behind us.
It went too far? When it overfills, how do they get it to go back down? Or it has another place to go.
Well, the outlet over there and goes out.
And that lake can go too low.
If they want to maintain a fishery in that reservoir, they can't let the water go too low.
Did you know Robert Clausen's in the film?
I plan on putting a pond on my property just like he's got on
his. Oh, I know. He's got
a
a koi pond we've already seen.
Yeah.
the lot was in fact already owned by the county and had been in default.
Your second permit is in violation of the fiduciary responsibility.
Arthur McClure was very quick to say that as the county accepted it, it would be viewed as politically incorrect by some group.
The erroneous information and the error that was presented, it would take months for the Coastal Commission to sort them all out.
This isn't just Fish and Game, it's the Army Corps, State Lands Commission, California Coastal Commission, Water Quality Control. Everyone is in on this lake situation. And quite basically, they have never purchased anything around the lake unless they flooded it and devalued the property.
Back to the Army Corps. I worked in Los Angeles Air Force Base.
Yeah.
And they made us work in the pouring rain, the mud just running everywhere. No worries about where the mud's going. It's going to the ocean or not. We're pouring concrete in the pouring rain with the trucks driving mud everywhere.
Watching Forest Service people screw off all winter. I find myself in the woods as a patrolman. And yeah, I'm full-time employed for 25, 30 years. I was been alone my entire life.
The government comes in and tries to take your land.
Yeah.
We would all like to support the person that they try and take the
land.
Yes, they did substandard work on the barriers that would have kept the water from flooding New Orleans.
There was a rally yet today at Salem in front of the Army Corps of Engineers building up there to object to their being cooperative in exporting coal.
U.S. Fish and Wildlife is opposed to that because they want the lake breached so that the anadromous fisheries.
It's not fair compensation. The original offer for all the upland right across from the subdivision was $900 an acre, and this was in the 1990s. Anyone in their right mind can tell you that that was a ripoff. And
well, they went down to 25 from then. You had to.
As they finally settled somewhere a little over $2,500 an acre.
Okay, there's a lot of undervaluation of eminent domain land.
Yes.
And they're underpaying. But it happens with highways, it happens with wetlands, it happens.
He's on film too. With eminent domain, like they're going to go through they're going to use eminent domain?
Yes, they are.
They are? Okay, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm totally opposed
but
to
it's
it.
Eminent domain is just compensation based on market value. And market value is a matter of public record.
It could not happen to them at all. There would be something of public record that would show.
And a lot of times people have inflated ideas of what their property is worth. Value is probably based on the economic downturn.
Well, the prices are going up all the time, so
You had me go to the law library, and this Kent District, their plan, it says it has a beneficial purpose. It's to protect the public highways, life, property.
And coincidentally enough, that management plan has not been approved by the Fish and Game Commission. As a result, Fish and Game has no management plan, and that's all on public record. Anyone can go down and look it up.
Because I'm stupid. I know I'm stupid. That's what this is all about.
So after our lawsuit was settled, until they have set some type of system in order to deface the value, then they offer to buy it.
Recording. Okay, so just annotated. Just one word. Annotated. See if I got that. Okay, I'm blind. Okay, just put. I don't know what's funny. I got something.
The Army Corps of Engineers.
It's actually a lagoon, and it's Lake Tahoe that ends up reaching to the ocean.
And said, we own this. It is not like your typical lake in California that's owned by the state.
Lake Earl is not a lake, it's a lagoon.
In America, and I expect to be treated like an American. And anybody that...
No, we just sold it to the Romeo Cheese Company.
Cheese and butter.
Cheese and butter.
And these are the samples of the cheeses that we make out of the milk.
And is the cheese pretty good?
Yes.
The cheese is excellent coming out. Lake Earl cheese.
Yes,
okay.
Lake Earl milk goes into making the Rumiano cheese.
Okay, well I'm going to sample. Oh. Okay, cheese. All right. Very rare. It's very hard to grow orchids.
No, it's very easy to grow orchids, and some of them are thousands of dollars, depending upon how recently they've been hybridized.
That's the outlet where the pontoons are, the floats.
Yes.
That's when it's full?
When it's have a wetland named after you. I mean, so when you, I think you might be the only person in the world with this distinction. Do you love, I mean, it's your name. I found this out because it has your name. So you,
well, it was just a deal honor because I've done quite a bit of community work and I want to put something that would
a plaque with my name on it. A dedication to the community work that I've done for the last 40 years.
Make a living here?
You know, it's pay our bills. A mill ranch is a great profit, I don't think, but I
Got the airboat now for the cooch, but that doesn't address all the fish or whatever that
it
are
worked
getting
pretty
stuck.
well. It did work pretty well. Yeah.
Get that work.
Let me take it through the ball, please.
In an airboat.
In an
They
airboat.
tried that. They got the airboat out.
Supervisor Boone? No. Supervisor Brandon?
Yes.
Supervisor Reese?
No.
Supervisor Allen?
Yes.
And it seems to have worked. There were.
Same has this airboat they go out with. Did you see all that? They have an airboat and they try to rescue the cooch.
We did it traditionally with a piece of driftwood.
All right. Breach it? No. I don't know.
No,
they wouldn't breach it.
I think it's a natural breach.
He and Bowen are on, they're both followers, but they have two different ideas of the lake.
They do?
Yeah.
Oh.
And
there's a certain towel of faction that want the lake level to be kept low because of worry over the burial sites.
I really object to the insinuation that we didn't care enough about our people that passed away, that they would be buried in a low-lying area. We would bury them where the lake level wouldn't touch them. Why would we want to bury our people down there where the water's going to wash over? I mean, for sensitive areas, sensitive sites. The reason you're going to find that is because of the massacres, and after the massacres, those people didn't have time to properly bury their people.
Army Corps of Engineers, the County Board of Supervisors, the local papers, you know, everybody knows that our cultural resources for the Tolowa Aboriginal people are not being protected at all, and they're being ignored. The federal laws, NAGPRA, the Antiquities Act of 1906, the Archaeological Resources Protection Act of 1979, the Native American Religious Freedom Act of 1978, the National Historic Preservation Act of 1966, the National Environmental Policy Act of 1969, and the state laws, fish and game, fish and game, are in violation of this California Environmental Quality Act of 1970, the State Historic Preservation Officer, SHPO, and TIPO, the Tribal Heritage Preservation Officers, whatever that crap they name themselves. None of it. None of it. None of them. In good old Jefferson State here is being recognized by the Department of Fish and Game. We're free here. We're not free down that road. The clan of the blood-stained hands has walked with massacres behind them, okay? The Aboriginal territory of the Tolowa Indians and the village of Etchelet and a couple of three other old villages that are not occupied either, but we try to keep all these things quiet, and we have map our own stuff because we're not about to map anything for the white people because they rob graves.
I also feel for those people who have to look at the water come up on their doorsteps every evening and wonder what the heck the county's going to do. The county is going to do. We're caught in the middle. 3 permits out there this year, 10 feet last year, and we begged in January to have that thing opened up above 10 feet. Literally begged to our legislators to get it open because we had people begging us to get the water out of their homes and get the water out of their yards. That's what we're faced. I know down the road there's some place that we can meet an agreement with all the players and get once and for all a solution to this mess that we're tied up in, to where we don't have people against people.
We have a snake out there that's head as big as a car window. and it exists. The Indian devil, two-legged deer, exists out there.
Where the bad folks go and they die. They don't go to heaven where the angels fly. They go to a lake or fire and fry. We'll see them again, tell them 4th of July.
The argument that we have here in Delmar County is, you know, is multifaceted, of course.
Have a jam.
This is in the middle of the creek.
Yeah, to the dictates of your own conscience. So, you know, it's about freedom.
And yeah, the conscience is very powerful.
The best government is religious government.
Oh, I love it. Okay, thank you so much.
People have to learn to work together. They try to make everything black and white, and the world isn't black and white. It's gray.
You're not going to be able to, you're not going to be very comfortable there. I think everyone will take their shoes off.
There will be a threshold or soil disturbance that we look at in the right-of-way grant on all.
That urban interface is the problem for fire.